Hey, have you ever been a member of a hunting lease and then the owner had the timber cut, or he just smooth sold the property to somebody else and you lost your lease? If that's happened to you, let's talk about it. I'm Pat Porter. I'm the broker for RecLand Realty. Here we talk about the rural real estate business and ideas and information to help you better manage and enjoy your own property. That scenario has happened a lot of times to a lot of people, and I've been in the middle of it a number of times as a land broker selling land for property owners and timberland where timber has been harvested while I had the property for sale for an owner. And then people that are leasing the property for deer hunting, they just sometimes get bent out of shape. Sometimes they just lose their minds altogether, and it's totally unnecessary, uncalled for, but it happens. And so I want to remind you of a couple things, and then I want to give you a couple tips that I personally use in dealing with leased land. I own land, but I also am a member of a lease not too far from my home. It's easy for us to get to bow hunt. So I've been a member of a hunting club for the last 15 years or so. So I understand both sides of the equation pretty well. First of all, you got to remember, if you're leasing property from a landowner, it's his property. I mean, he can do with it what he wants to. And I know fundamentally you'll say you understand that, but sometimes the way we act when we get our feelings hurt, when things happen during the course of the lease or even around hunting season, we sometimes act like we've forgotten that somebody else owns the property and they're free to do with it what they want to do. Second thing, timber is a crop, and landowners not only do harvest timber, but should harvest timber. It is a renewable resource, and timber should be properly managed for the long-term welfare and benefit of that tract and also that person and that family's asset, their estate. So timber has got to be properly managed, and it can't all be cut in April, May, June in the summer when you're not even thinking about deer hunting. Sometimes it gets cut right before deer season, sometimes right in the middle of deer season, and it's just part of it. But it does belong to the landowner. He does need to manage it and manage it the way that best suits him, not the desires or wishes of a few people that are leasing the property from him. And so you've got to understand, hey, it's a crop. They've got to manage it in a good way and in a resourceful way for them. And it is a renewable resource. God has been growing trees for a long time, and he's going to keep growing them, even the ones that have been cut on your lease. And as you can tell, here on my lease, I mean, this was clear cut about 3 years ago. These are 3-year-old plant. It's a 3-year-old plantation coming back. So it's just part of it. Also, too, timber harvest is good for the deer herd. Believe it or not, deer eat a lot more browse that grows from the ground than they do acorns that fall from those few oak trees scattered around. They're going to eat acorns in a good year, a week or two out of the whole year. But they're going to thrive on vegetation and forage and browse all year long. And so timber harvest opens up the canopy, allows sun to get on the ground, and grows things that cause our deer herds to thrive. Some tips that I'd give you if you're a member of a lease and yet you don't want to be upset by a timber harvest. Here's what I do. And again, I'm a bow hunter, so this may apply more to me than some of you who just like to sit in a deer stand and look down shooting lanes at 300 yards long. Do what you want to do, but as a bow hunter, it's easy for me to follow these tips. Number one, all of my stands, all of my lock-ons are way back behind me there in a creek bottom. Now, that timber is never going to be cut right in that drain because the forestry management practices are going to preserve that stream management area. And so I've got all my lock-ons in a little small creek bottom down there it's really not going to be disturbed by a timber harvest. I might get disturbed with log trucks coming in and out and shearers running, and they may mess up some hunts because of that, but where I have my stands is really not going to be affected. But what you can do if you're a gun hunter is think about where you place your deer stands. Don't place the things right out in the dead middle of an area where it's going to be clear cut to the ground and right beside a main haul road like I'm on here. I mean, be a little strategic. Put your stands in places that are near those stream management areas or near different size timber growth like that behind me there, because this timber and that timber back there never going to be harvested at the same time. So you have the ability to place your stands in places where you have a different age of tree growth, and it creates edge for the deer, and the deer like that. So instead of just putting your stand right off the main road, 100 yards off the blacktop, right in the middle of the track, be strategic where you place your stand so you don't get as upset or kind of knocked out of business, so to speak, if you do have a timber harvest right before or right during deer season. So anyway, hey, keep leasing land and enjoy it, and understand that you're doing the whole conservation movement a big favor by buying a license and by being an ethical hunter. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't get bent out of shape just because you lost your lease or somebody cut the timber on it. And one last thing I'll leave you with, and this is just coming from me personally, having seen the abuse of this too many times: treat the place like it's yours. Now, if you're a dirty, rotten, no good slob, don't treat it like it's yours. Get out of the lease and go away. Treat the place like it's yours with respect. Pick up your junk. Don't leave your corn bags and your rice bran bags under your deer stand. Don't throw your Coke bottles and your beer cans out the window. Take that crap home with you. Treat the place with respect. You're a guest on somebody's property. Act like it. I have been on too many tracts of land where it was a disgrace what was going on there, and then when I tell the owner about it, they lose their mind. Now, they don't go out there and check, and they wouldn't have known, but when I see stuff like that, I let them know, hey, the people that are leasing your property, they've turned it into a giant junkyard, and that's just uncalled for. So treat the place with respect. You never know, one day you may be a landowner and you'll want your ground taken care of as well. So anyway, hey, just some tips. Appreciate you watching our videos. There's some more right there. Check them out.